With us today is Dr. William J. Parker. He has been in the Navy for a very long time. Right now, he's the CEO of Maritime Technologies. And he was the president of East-West Institute, who tries to create peace in the world. And senior naval officer, commanded naval ships. Well, Dr. Parker, what else do you want to say?
Well, first of all, hello, John. Great to be back on your show again. Look, I think you want to talk about Ukraine. The world is in a bad place right now, and Ukraine's not much better. But we can dive into the details on that.
Understood. Tell us where you want to start. We got such a mess in our hands. They sunk a couple of vessels in the Red Sea. You start where you'd like to start.
Well, I tell you, starting with Ukraine again, if we could, I think that the U.S. is in a very difficult spot here. On one hand, you want to adhere to the Budapest Memorandum without falling into the Thucydides trap, which we've talked about before. And the bottom line is the Budapest Memorandum said that we would do basically two things: that the United States, Russia, and the UK would respect the independence and sovereignty and the existing borders of Ukraine, and we would refrain from the threat or use of force against that country. Obviously, that's not being followed right now in any way by the Russians. And so you have that side. On the flip side, you have the fact that we don't want to necessarily get drug into a major war between the United States and Russia. So there's that balance that's going on right now. So
is it going to continue? What's the next step?
Well, I think this war in Ukraine will continue, and will continue for quite a while. There are others that say that this is over, that the Russians have won. But remember that before this war started between these two countries, the Russians' pre-war numbers were about 360,000 total army, and they have had killed or seriously injured. This is the Russians now, 350,000. Now their military has grown and it's gotten a lot bigger, but they've taken a beating there. They've also had either sunk or seriously damaged 20 of their ships, most of which are out of the Black Sea, and about 20% of all the missile attacks into Ukraine right now are coming from ships out of the Black Sea. So the Russians are taking a bit of a beating here as well, not to mention their internal politics.
Now, Russia has said, or Zelensky has said, that until Russia withdraws, they're not going to have any talks. Is that realistic?
I do not think that is realistic. I think that Zelensky, one, I don't think it's smart. I think that anytime you have two countries that are killing each other, anything you can do to go to the tables and talk and get this thing negotiated, even if it means slowing down the kill rate, helps. And maybe you can bring others in to come up with some deal where you prevent the continuous war. But no, I don't think that's realistic on Zelensky's part at all.
Now, Israel, another mess on our hands there. What do you hear from your sources?
When you think Israel, I think you should really think China. And why do I say that? Because the United States has made it very clear that an attack on Taiwan means that the United States will defend Taiwan. We've now said that with this administration numerous times. So if we now back off on who we have promised over and over again that we would defend Israel, we are then sending a direct message to China about Taiwan. And I think that's the bigger picture that people aren't discussing right now, is Israel and Hamas and Syria, et cetera, is really a bigger picture of Taiwan and China.
Understood. Now, where would you like to go next? I mean, those ships are being sunk in the Red Sea. I mean, how can we accept this? Why do we allow that?
Well, John, I don't think we should be accepting this. I think you have very capable forces there. But the reality is, if you told Rocky Balboa that he had to be on the defensive the whole time when he was fighting Drago, it wouldn't have gone very well for him. But Rocky decided to go offensive and started hitting back. And if we're going to strike back, we need to strike back like the United States is capable of, and not here and there. When you start having ships sunk of our friends and allies, when you start having cables cut that directly can and will impact our economy, these are things that we need to hit back and hit back hard. And we need to look at the money and follow the money. How did the Houthis get funded in the first place, and where did that money come from? And if we can track that money back to where these systems were built and funded from, then those people ought to be held accountable, whether it's in Iran, whether it's other parts of the world, or whether it's here in the United States. We need to hold those people accountable who have allowed for this kind of money to go to organizations like the Houthis, Hamas, and others.
Understood. China, anything new?
China, there is some things new. They're struggling with their economy for the first time. They're talking about not double-digit growth. You got to ask the question: where is Jack Ma? Which is the bigger picture of where are many of those capitalistic approaching type of leaders in their country that have now suddenly disappeared, which is impacting their economy in a major way. The fact that they're going offensive against a Philippine vessel where they're putting high-pressure water inside the bridge and damaging Filipinos. I think watching the Philippines and Taiwan closely is important right now, and we should keep a very close eye on what Xi is both doing, but also what he's saying, because normally he kind of follows up on what he says he's going to do.
Anything else you want to tell the American people this Sunday morning?
The other thing I would probably say to the American people is we need to keep a very close eye on what's going on around the globe right now. You have multiple conflicts happening, and this is all bubbling up to what could end up being a global war again. And I think we really need to take a good hard look at where we are spending our assets, where we are putting our personnel, and making sure that we keep our sons and daughters of America safe as we just throw them into the breach here, as we're doing right now in the Middle East.
Understood. Dr. William Parker, thank you for everything you've done for America, and you keep fighting for America, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be on your show.